All right. Good evening, everyone. We're just doing a re-recording of the session from yesterday. There was some interruption in between, but then we have noted down all the questions and we would like to address them all throughout this call. So I have KK, who's also part of, who's also there in the call, whom we'll formally introduce a little later in the call. But then welcome everyone to the first certification preparation for session on how do you prepare yourself for the UiPath Certified RPA Associate exam. Now, as you are aware, this exam was launched. The new certification program, which is called UiPath Certified Professional, was launched sometime in early April, and was intended to replace the previous certification, which was called as UiPath Certified Professional. Now, this new exam brings in some of the best industry practices, including proctored evaluation. It is much more secure and a high stakes exam, and is and brings in best of the industry practices across to that. What changes between the previous certification and the new certification? Of course, one, the entire delivery format changes. So this becomes a proctored exam. Second thing that changes phenomenally from the previous exam is now we have two different sets of exams under two different tracks: a general track and a developer track. And so you'll have the option to choose between what career path you would want to. Wherein in the previous exam, you just had one certification exam, which was the RPA Advanced Developer. Now, just to give you a quick update on folks who have certification in the previous format, the certifications would be valid till April 30th, 2021. But we highly recommend you to go and take up the new certification, because the new certification exam validates your knowledge or your skill on the latest software version that is there. So it is ideally advisable for all students, professionals, everybody who would want to highlight your credential to any prospective employer, to have the latest certification, because that will make you stand apart from the rest of the crowd. Now, before we talk about the other aspects of certification, I think one of the most important thing that I would want to highlight is the value that a certification brings into your career, right? And this is from a study that Pearson VUE has been doing for years, and this is the 2018 value of IT certification survey that they've done among 10,000 odd professionals from 138 plus countries, and these are folks who have had certifications with some of the latest industry, with some of the best industries certifications, right? So like Cisco, Dell, EMC, Facebook, Microsoft, and Oracle. Now, there were a set of questions that they've asked, which is typical as part of the survey. But then we've taken some of the 5 or 6 key survey findings which stand out from the rest of the crowd, right? And which are important for you as an individual or your organization as a team to look at, right? And I think, and I'm sure all of you can correlate to what has been listed in terms of the top 5 or 6 values that the certification brings in. Just to talk about 67% out of this 10,000 who were interviewed believed that certification gave them greater confidence in their abilities. And I'm sure all of you can relate that to each one of yourself, right? So when you have something, when you get your credential, when you get your knowledge certified by an industry, from the industry or the technology company that that owns it, it brings in a lot of credibility into your profile also when you go and have a conversation with others, right? Similarly, the same knowledge that you've gained through the credential also helps you. It also gives you the confidence to actually take it to a real work situation. So 55% of them actually believed that the certifications added value for them in their existing work, in their existing real. They were able to replicate that work, the knowledge that was learned into their work life. The 44% felt that their output significantly increased because of certification. I'm sure all of us can relate to it, right? And that led to increased job satisfaction. But what's significantly important are the last two things from an individual perspective. 35% of them believed that they were able to get higher salaries or a wage increase because of the certification or the latest certification that they had. And that's significant because in your organization, if you are able to if you're able to stamp your authority with the latest certification, with the credential that you have, I'm sure your employer will appreciate it, and at the same, will honor you with whatever monetary benefits that you're looking. At the same time, while monetary benefit was one part of employee satisfaction, the other part was 28% of these employees, of these individuals also were entrusted with greater responsibilities. Now that's significantly big, because that since you, look at it from an individual perspective. When you have a certification, your company, your organization also believes that yes, he is knowledgeable, he has the skills that is needed for the market. Let me give him some additional responsibility. And 28% of them believe that they were given additional responsibility, right? And overall, what you look at here is there is a lot of value that the certification adds to each one of your profile. And staying up to date it not just helps you stay up to date in terms of the latest releases for the software, but then also helps you in your career progression. Now, let's come back to UiPath certification. The certification exam, as I said, is called UiPath Certified Professional. And when we launched it in April, we launched it with 2 tracks. One was the general track, and the second was the RPA developer track. And there are 2 levels of certification for that. So let's talk about the first general track, which currently has 1 certification, which is the associate certification. Is basically designed for everyone, any aspirant who would want to build their skill on RPA and go out in the market and showcase that to a prospective employer, right? So if you are in pre-sales, you are in support, you are in any other job function, or you are a fresher out of a college, the RPA associate is ideally the first step for you to start your career. And the second exam was the much more advanced certification, which we call it as UiPath Certified Advanced RPA Developer Certification, which falls under the second track, which is the RPA Developer track. And this exam basically evaluates you for your is designed for people who are interested in building a career as an RPA developer or an architect. For that, and typically requires about 6 months of work experience or hands-on experience on the situation, on working on various RPA projects, and then then it helps you build your credential based on your journey as an RPA developer. Today, as part of the session, as we mentioned earlier, today we'll focus on the associate exam, and I'm sure that's something that all of you would want to understand and know about, which is your stepping stone into the industry. Now, as I said, the exam is built for everyone, any aspirant who wants to get started with RPA. Who intends to build a career. It's for career starters. It's for somebody who is switching their roles from a traditional IT job to RPA to an RPA as an RPA professional. It is ideally the right certification for them to consider. And to give you more insight about the exam, I've just listed down what is the exam criteria, everything here. But then I would believe it's better to hear from somebody who's just completed the exam and who knows in and out of what is needed. So may I just so let me welcome Krishna Kant, who is director at UiPath Learning, to share his experience on what preparation he took as part of his learning to successfully complete the certification, and also share some of his best practices with the audience. KK.
Thank you, Rajesh. Hello, everyone. I was actually involved in creation of the course, which is aligned to certification for the associate certification. And I also gave the certification exam. This was about 2 months back. So I went through a lot of learning while I was preparing for the certification exam. And, so today I'm going to share the approach which I took for preparation, how I actually prepared, and what are the things which I kept in mind, and how I was able to clear the exam successfully. So the place where you need to start is, let me just share my screen. Okay. So your starting point for the certification should be UiPath.com/certification. So this page actually lists down the certifications which are available through UiPath, and also the also details about certification. And if you come to the bottom of the page, this is where the real meat is. This has all the information which you need in order to prepare and successfully appear for the exam. So we'll begin with the exam itself. The associate exam is the basic exam, the foundation exam, which Rajesh was talking about. And this is the document which contains the description for the exam. So this lists down the topics which you need to complete in order to successfully clear the exam. So if I was a student and preparing for the certification, I would actually go through this document in a lot of detail. It captures the task which an individual should be able to do before he attends the certification exam. So if you look at each of the topics, we have actually listed down the activities which you should be able to complete in order to be ready to take the exam. So my advice is that go through each of the line items within this document and ensure that you are completely ready before you try to attend the exam itself. About the exam, it's a 90-minute test done by Pearson VUE. The passing score is 70%. Exam fee is $150, and you, of course, get a discount based on whatever criteria applies to you. Each question has 4 choices. You need to select one choice, and you'll have about 65 odd questions which you need to answer. My experience has been that 90 minutes is sufficient time for you to answer the questions. And there are a few questions which are really difficult, few questions which are sort of okay, and few which are really easy. So it's a mix of different types of questions for the exam. Now, so this is a document which you really need to keep in mind. This is going to be your Bible in terms of what you're going to study. And next thing which I want to focus on is the resources which you need in order to prepare for the exam. So the same page, UiPath.com/certification, also has the list of recommended trainings. So if you go through this document, it has listed out all the trainings which you need to do in order to be successful in the exam itself. Now, if you are a student of a university which is part of Academic Alliance, then you may be going through the course at the university itself. But for all the other people, this is the place where you want to go. You want to go to UiPath Academy. UiPath Academy has all the courses which are given out by UiPath, and all the courses are completely at zero cost. So there's no cost involved in it, and it's free for everyone. So we'll just log into UiPath Academy, and so this is what the landing page looks like. We're going to focus on these 3 courses. First course is the RPA Starter Course, second is a Foundation course, and third is the Automation Version Control Systems course. So this is the home page, and this is the RPA Starter Course. Now, RPA Starter Course is a course which is actually meant for beginners. So if you have no experience in RPA at all, and this is the first time you're exploring it, this is the course you should be doing. This will sort of set the context for you. It will teach you the basic aspects of automation and how you can use UiPath tools to create, workflows which will solve problems, in your daily routine. The second course is RPA Developer Foundation course. This is the course where the real meat is. So I'll straight away go here. And as you can see, this course has 13 modules. Each module would take, different times. A couple of modules would take 4 hours, 2 hours, 6 hours, depending on the size of the module. But you need to go through each of the modules in detail. Each module has various sections, so I'll just go into one of the modules. So Excel and data tables, and this particular section of the course talks about Excel and data tables in UiPath Studio. And the way the courses are structured is it's a mix of text which you're going to be reading. It's going to be some videos which you'll go through. So, there are some basic exercises which will help you recap. Then there are, so you can, you can go through each of the contents which are listed out here in detail. And then there are a couple of video demos, like this is a video. So through these videos, they'll try to teach you, different concepts. So what you need to do is, as a best practice, when you're going through the video, you need to listen to everything properly, and you need to follow everything. Ideally, what you should be doing is you should pause the video and you should try to recreate the same workflow on your own laptop, right? So that way you will be practicing the concepts as it's being played on the video. Towards the end, of course, there are files, associated files and applications which are required to create the workflow. They would be given out here. Towards the end of the course, you will find the practice exercises. So these practice exercises will cover all the concepts which have been taught in the course, and it's highly recommended that you complete each of these exercises. If you have challenges in solving it, then you can click on Get Solution, and it'll sort of guide you how to create the solution. It's more of a step-by-step guide where it will tell you, you can go here, click this, add this, do that, and you will arrive at the solution. So this way you can complete all the courses within the RPA Foundation course. Like I told you, there are a total of 13 courses within the Foundation course. So you need to complete each and every course, and this takes about 40 hours. But personally, when I was preparing, I went through the same content 3 times. So typical first iteration, when you go through the course for the first time, it's more about familiarizing it, and you won't really be able to recall everything at the end of it. So you need to go through it again and again, maybe 2 or 3 times, till the time you are able to memorize, most of the techniques, most of the activities, and what you need to do and where you need to do it, right? So having done that, you are ready to attempt the certification exam. But the next thing which you would want to do is practice. So you would want to evaluate what's the level of your understanding of the concepts and whether you will be successful for the exam or not. So that's when you come to this particular link. So I'll show you how the practice exam looks. So this is a simple, so you need to log in out here, populate all your details. So I'm a UiPath employee, and I agree to receive communications, and let me just log in. So it shows my information, and I can just click on continue and go to the test. Now we've tried to recreate the same environment which you would find when you're attempting the exam. The questions have the same look and feel as you would find in the exam. And so you can straight away go to the questions and start answering the questions. This has about 45 or 50 odd questions, which will help you in practicing. And these are exactly the type of questions which you get in the exam itself. Like the exam environment, if you are not sure of what the answer to a particular question could be, you can mark it for review and move on to the next one, right? And once you have completed this, you click on submit, and then you get the results. So you would know which questions are right, which questions are wrong. It would also help you in identifying areas within UiPath, within the foundation course, where you are weak and where you need to focus on. But do keep one thing in mind: it's the same set of questions which appear. So you can take the test as many times as you want, but it's the same set of questions which is coming, right? So if you are getting better marks, that may be because you are getting more familiar with the same set of questions, rather than because you are genuinely improving in terms of skills. So keep that in mind. This is more like a practice tool which will familiarize you with the type of questions which are available. Now, tips and tricks which I would recommend you follow during the course. Each of the course, all the courses out here, they capture everything in a lot of detail, and they also have links to UiPath documentation. Now, UiPath documentation is the place where everything is exhaustively covered. So you would, of course, have things covered out here, but uh, like you have a link out here, right? So this link would actually take you to UiPath documents, which will have more exhaustive coverage of what all is covered in that particular topic. So I would highly recommend that for each activity, wherever it is given, you go through all the content which is on UiPath document. This means a lot of reading, but yes, it helps you a lot. And there are a lot of questions in the examination which come from UiPath documentation. I mean, other than the course itself, right? So that's one tip which I would give. The other thing which I would say is practice, practice, practice. That's the key. So merely reading through or going through the videos is not going to help you. If you really want to be successful, you need to complete the practice exercises at the end of the course. This way, you will really brush up and become very familiar with all the skills that are being taught in the course. Another place which I would highlight, which I would recommend that you go, is UiPath Forum. So if you get stuck somewhere, let's say your orchestrator is not connecting to the cloud orchestrator is not connecting to the robot. So if that's happening, you can go to UiPath Forum, or for any problem which you face during the course, you can actually go to UiPath Forum and look for the solution for that particular problem. That's a community where all the developers on UiPath come, collaborate, share their challenges, and share the resolutions for those challenges. An advantage which you have right now is that the current certification is based on 2019.4. It's going through a refresh, and the next certification is going to be based on 2019.10. So 19.4 means it's a older version, so it's a little lesser content, and 2019.10 would, of course, make it more exhaustive. But of course, our trainings are on 2019.10. So while you train yourself, you're getting trained on the latest UiPath version. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for you to appear in the exam and clear it right now before the refresh happens. How did I prepare? So let me share what I did. Now, I created my own notes, and this is how it looked. So when I was going through the course, I would copy all the activities or anything important which I found, and these are notes which I made. So like build data table, add data column. So at the end of the day or end of the week, I would go through go through my notes, try to recall what each activity does and where I used it. And similarly, I went through a lot of other stuff on UiPath documentation as well. Some of the key algorithms or key logics which I saw, which I think I would use later when I'm preparing for the exam, I copied them here. So things like the statement which helps in identifying how whether an year is a leap year or not. Now, I'm not very familiar with .NET, so that took a lot of practice, and I actually, copied a lot of commands from .NET, which were used in UiPath. Then data manipulation, yeah, it's one of the most important topics. So as you can see, I kept on appending this document with whatever I felt was important and necessary for the exam. When you would be studying it, you would realize, which areas you are really weak on, and I would encourage you to copy those portions into your notes. And yeah, so this is, and the day before the exam, when I scheduled my exam in the morning, I just went through these notes instead of going through all the videos. So this is sort of like a summary which would help you prepare for the examination. Another place which I would highlight for you is the Acme website. Now, Acme is a website which is available through UiPath, and this would really help you in practicing the concepts which you have learned in the course. So if you run out of problems, you can actually go here and create your own set of projects to solve. So for example, I can go out here, I can click on invoices, and let me just search for it and see what I find. So display all the invoices. So what I can do is I can actually create a workflow which can go to this place, pick up the invoice number, pick up the invoice item number, and do something with it, right? Or I could go to other options within the website. So you can go to user option, reset the test data. Then there are reports which you can actually download. So you can design a workflow which would download the reports, look at the PDF document, and then it would try to extract the content from the PDF document. Based on the content, it could trigger another set of events, like it could send out an email to a particular person that this report contains this. So you can be innovative and create your own projects. This is a website which is stable and which we support, so you can continue to practice on this. Another website which is mentioned in the course as well is RPA Challenge. Now this is another website which is managed by UiPath, and this sort of challenges you in terms of applying the skills which you have applied. This has different set of problems. So like this is the most famous one, where the name of the location of where you need to populate the information keeps on changing. So like you can see, the phone number would change from here to this location. So you need to create a workflow which would identify where these different items are and go and populate that. There are other problems as well. So here is another automation challenge. Then there's a movie search problem. This is temporarily unavailable, but it would be back online soon. Then there's an invoice extraction problem. Then there is I think I'm having problems with my internet. So there are problems out here which you can use to really practice the concept you have learned. Now, moving to the examination itself, how did I appear for the exam? I had the option of going to the center or scheduling the exam from the comfort of my home. And that was a time when coronavirus was at its peak out here. And as even today, most of the countries around the world are impacted. There's a good number of COVID cases around the world. So people would actually want to avoid physically going to a center and would want to give the exam from their home itself. So that's the choice which I made. Now the process for that is you need to go to the Pearson VUE website. All the instructions have been given out here. You can schedule the exam, and you need to look for the available dates. The dates which I was getting were like 10 to 15 days in future. And that also shows the demand which we have for the exam. So there are a lot of people who want to appear for it. And the first available slot which I got, I took that. Then you can reschedule the exam till about 48 hours before the actual exam time. And that does not include the weekends, so 48 business hours. On the day of the exam, before the exam, I would highly recommend that you check your system, whether it's compatible for the exam itself or not. So the VUE website has a link where you can go and check whether your system has everything which is required to appear for the exam. Then on the day of the exam itself, before you begin it, you would be required to take photographs of the place where you're giving the exam. You need to upload them, and then there's a proctor who's going to give you an okay that you're ready to appear for it. So that process takes about 15 or 20 minutes. And once you're given an okay, you are on the screen which starts with the examination itself. Your mic would always be on, and you cannot move away from the screen. So this is to ensure that nobody is using any fraudulent means to cheat the system. And it's as once the exam begins, it's as good as giving it in a VUE center. So once you complete the exam, you can submit it. You would get your result instantly, and you would of course get a validated score sheet a couple of hours after the exam. So that was my experience, and having given the exam from my home, that has become my first choice. So in future as well, whenever I want to appear for exam, if I have the option of appearing at exam from my confines of my home, I would really love to do that. That was a good experience. It saved me the commute time, and mentally I was really prepared till the last moment. I could practice, I could revise whatever I had learned, and that really helped me out. So so that's it from my side from the preparation perspective, and all the best to all of you. I would highly recommend going through the steps which I told you. Go through the content, go through the resources, practice it. make your own notes, go through the notes on the examination day, try to appear for the exam online if you are comfortable with that, try to appear for it from your house itself, and that's it. So Rajesh,
Thank you, KK. Uh, I think you've covered the exhaustive information for any candidate to understand, and I hope all of you have been able to, will take advantage of what KK suggested. So, ideally, key learning is go to uipath.com/certification, and then once you go there, you could actually see some of the content, the activities that are listed there. So give me 1 second. I'll just quickly, KK, can I just share the screen?
yeah.
Just 1 second. So as KK said, follow these 5 steps as for your preparation. Go through the exam document that is there. Do the appropriate learning. Get yourself prepared through the practice exam, and then whenever you want, you can go to the Pearson View website and schedule your exams. Now, there is also an option for you to buy vouchers. So if you would want to gift a voucher to your friend, there are vouchers available on the store that you could actually buy it and give it to your community member or anybody else, or your friend or colleague, that you could do from the store. So if you would wish to give them a certification voucher, you could do that. All academic institutions, including the educators and student community, are eligible for a 50% discount on our exam. So typically for an associate exam, it would cost a student $75, and this benefit is extended by Pearson View directly to the student. So as long as you are a part of a university learning a full-time course or a full-time degree program, you can avail this benefit. And I'll actually encourage all students to do that, because these are benefits that are extended only while you are there in your university or college. So go ahead and make use of it. The last piece, which is about credentials. So once KK or anybody, for KK completed his exam, there were certain digital credentials that were given as to recognize the effort. And so I'll just quickly tell you what are those credentials that were there. So just give me, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So once you complete your certification, you would get a transcript that says this is your passing score, or whatever is the status, and once you have completed that, in about 3 to 4 working days, you will get your credentials to create an account on our credential manager, which is CertMetrics. And once you have your once you have your profile set up for the exam on CertMetrics, you are eligible for 3 different types of credentials. So first is an e-certificate. So it's in a typical traditional certificate format. So if you would want to highlight it to somebody, you could actually use that. The other is a digital badge, and now digital badge is picking up as a key way to share credentials online. So if you would want to share your credentials on Facebook, social media, LinkedIn, and Twitter, you could actually use the same to do that. And also, and of course, the logo that comes as part of the certification. You could use the logo in your email signatures. It could go into your visiting card, just to show your to show your credibility to the market. So next time you're visiting someone, you could actually have that on your visiting card and share it across to them. The e-certificates and digital badges are all digitally verifiable, which means if your employer would want to verify the authenticity of the certificate or of the badge, there is a link available on which they could go and verify. And this will make sure that your employer is also comfortable with the credential that you've shared. And just to share the benefits, which I think we would have covered earlier. Like I said, the new certification program brings in a whole lot of benefits from an individual perspective. But then what I wanted to focus more on is to encourage hiring managers or folks who are building RPA teams to focus more on building UiPath certified professional teams. Now, it is your opportunity to first to build a team that has the right skills. You do not have to worry about assessing somebody's knowledge, because this credential is good in terms of credibility to assess somebody's knowledge. So all you need to do is look out for these credentials, and yes, and be rest assured that these individuals have the right skills to look in. Now, this is also a good opportunity for you to increase your team morale. Pass it on as if you have if you have a team that is already not certified, you could also pass it on as a benefit to your employees, because it not just, as I said, a certification not just helps you move up in your career ladder, but then also it helps you increase morale and morale of the individual, so that he can be better and loyalty, so that he can be better, he can contribute better to the in a much better way to the organization. Now, with that, I think we've covered all the information that was needed in terms of the certification. As I said, do visit uipath.com/certification for any additional information. There were a few questions that had come up during the during the recording. I'll probably read out a few, so that KK, if you would want to add something, you could probably answer to them as well. So one of the questions that came in was that question from, I think it was from one of the person who was a system admin, and he wanted to understand if he can actually look at making a career in RPA, or and how can Academy actually help him do that. KK, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So, for anybody who wants to get into RPA, the place to go to is UiPath Academy. And if you are completely new to RPA, then I would suggest step into RPA course. On Academy, you would also find various other courses which are aligned to the different categories of individuals who come into to Academy, right? So based on the background, based on the kind of learning you have, you could choose learning plans which are available. The most popular one, which is available right now, is of course the foundations one and the advanced one, which both have certifications, aligned to these two courses. So a good starting point would be the starter course, and from there you can go to the developer and the advanced course. You could do courses in RE framework, and then there are many advanced courses on AI, how to integrate that, and a couple of new courses which we keep on adding as and when we come out with new features. Those courses would be available as well. So I think the place to go to is UiPath Academy. And from there, you can plan how to upskill yourself and get into the domain.
Yeah, thank you, KK. Just wanted to add to what KK said. So academy.uipath.com is our free learning platform. So you do not have to pay anything for learning. It's a self-paced learning platform. So the courses are, so you can ideally go through the content at your own pace. Every time there is a new update on the product, there's a new release that happens. We try to share the latest learning on the platform. So do keep looking out on Academy for new learning, for new contents that get uploaded. As and when you complete a course, you are issued a diploma, which helps you, which basically recognizes that you've completed that course as part of the program. And there are certain, as KK said, there are learning paths that are built in to help you for very specific career paths. So there is something on developer, there's something on business analyst, there are other roles that are there. So there is a dedicated learning path that has been built, and would encourage all of you to go in there and explore UiPath Academy. The other question, which I think we've actually answered that in the previous discussion. So the academic discount or the academic credit that is given by VU, and we highly and it is meant only for college students and educators. So even teachers who are interested can actually avail that. Now, if you are an organization that is interested in certifying your employees, and if you would want to buy vouchers for them, you can just go to the Pearson store. Pearson has a UiPath marketplace. Just give a Google search or go to the certification webpage. You will be guided to that, and you could actually buy the vouchers for your teams. Now, if you want to look at a bigger set of vouchers that you want to look at procuring for your teams, do feel free to reach out to us, and we can probably help you. We can probably help you with some discount from you. that can be passed on to your organization. So that's the, I mean, that's the process in terms of how could you in terms of certification and ordering vouchers on the store. I think that was all, KK. Fairly, we've covered everything in our discussion. But what seems to be key, most important from your discussion is the new RPA Design and Development course, which seems very closely aligned with the certification. So students of colleges or educators, fellow educators, or part of who've joined us for the call, the course ideally prepares you rightly for the certification. Is that right, KK? Does the new course prepare? I think you're on mute.
Oh yeah. So that's right. The new course is aligned to the certification, and any student who is going through the course in the university is adequately prepared for attempting the associate exam.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's a key there. So if you want to, if you are in a university or college, or and you are training your students, or you're looking at training workforces, you have the course as part of Academic Alliance. Just go ahead and use the content, because that rightly aligns with the new certification that is there. As a closing remark, I just wanted to mention that there are two key. So there are user groups that we have across the region, and would actually want to encourage all of you to join some of these user groups. If you can give me a second, I can just take you to the screen and share the link. So I'm sure while you answer, if you are in a city and you would want to connect with other fellow community members, and today most of the events are happening online, but then connecting with community members will also help you stay connected with what's happening around in the technology, and also give you all the also look at getting all the support in terms of if you're looking for next employment, if you're looking at now some of the career opportunities, this could actually help you there. So we have set up this community. It's called communityevents.uipath.com. That's an event. That's a page where all the community members globally are hosting their events. And now, earlier these used to be physical meetups, physical events. Now, since most of them are virtual, you can actually go to the respective, you can actually see all of them getting listed here. So if any of these events are interesting for you, you can go ahead and sign up for these events. The second thing that I wanted to share is there are multiple meetup groups across the world that we've created. So you have Delhi, Chennai, Singapore, Bangkok, Manila, other Sri Lanka, for instance. There are multiple groups that are available here. And if you are a student or you're a teacher, would recommend you to actually join one of these relevant groups or cities. That will also help you get closer to the community that is working on RPA. So if you have any problem, they could be your first hand to help you solve any of your problems. We also have two global communities, virtual communities that we're driving. The first one is a learners community, under which this webinar is actually hosted. So anything related to learning, which could be certification prep, certification bootcamp, study jams, anything related to learning, we will try to host it as part of it. So please go ahead and join these user groups, because what is important for you is to also make sure while you subscribe for these events is also to sign up for these groups. Right now, when you sign up for these groups, these chapters, it will help you make sure the next time there is an event that is hosted under this chapter, you will have the relevant information. Now, if you are missing out on some of the events, you don't have to worry. Just go back to previous events, and then you can actually find out. You can actually click, and then the recordings would be available. Like, for example, this video will actually get recorded and be uploaded in the stream post the session, right? And similarly, there is a group for educators. So if you are a teacher, you are an instructor who is interested in, or someone is interested in becoming an instructor with us, we have a dedicated group that has been built here, where we try to focus more on concepts, or more on things that you would be interested as an educator, maybe to connect with others, find out from others how they are using RPA as part of the curriculum, how they are building it within their ecosystem. So we just finished one event a couple of days back, but then we'll intend to add more events to that. So do join us on communityevents.uipath.com. follow your regional chapters for any information that you would want to stay connected with other community members, and look for if you're interested in continuing your learning, look for joining the learning learners community that is there, and and if you're a teacher, there is the educator community that is also available. I think that was all. That is all that we had for today. We hope all of you have found this learning in the knowledge that we have shared exciting. Anytime you would want to connect with us, do follow us, do connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, any social chat forums, or you could also use the UiPath forum. And if you would want to post any questions related to your exam, you could use that as well. With that, I would like to wholeheartedly thank KK for taking time and joining this session and sharing his knowledge with our community. I'm sure KK, the knowledge that you've shared today, the community members would love to actually come back and tell you that they've successfully completed the exam. Thank you so much for taking time. I hope it was a fruitful session, and all of you take care, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.